Hey everyone, this is Decoded Daily, and here's what's going down around the world right now. Oil spiking, the dollar's sliding, and the US is quietly moving troops into the Middle East. Again. Back home, protests explode in Los Angeles, and President Trump just deployed the military under emergency powers. In India, a Boeing jet crashes, and the company's stock is taking a hit. Over in Europe, leaders are calling out Putin directly as Russian strikes on Ukraine ramp up. The UN is voting today on a Gaza ceasefire, while US and Iran are planning secret talks in Oman. China's tightening its grip on rare earths, shaking up the global supply chain. And in Kenya, tear gas and outrage after a blogger dies in police custody. Markets are nervous. Diplomats are scrambling. This is not the kind of news cycle you want to miss. Let's break it all down right now.
Oil and dollar market turbulence. Oil prices jumped 4% as the U.S. began repositioning personnel in the Middle East over nuclear escalation concerns with Iran, whose breach of UN obligations was confirmed for the first time in nearly 20 years. Meanwhile, U.S. CPI came in softer than expected in May, plus 0.1% versus plus 0.2% previously, sending Treasury yields lower and pushing the dollar to its weakest since April. Global stocks and trade friction. Markets dipped as investors weighed trade uncertainties alongside geopolitical tensions. A temporary U.S.-China framework deal helped calm nerves, but details remain slim. U.S. tariffs, particularly those announced by Trump, are expected to push inflation and drag on Japan's rate hike cycle, according to former BOJ official Takako Masai.
Europe pushes back against Putin. At a ministerial meeting in Rome, Polish FM Sikorsky accused Putin of mocking U.S. peace efforts amid ongoing Russian strikes in Ukraine that killed 3 and injured dozens. NATO's Rutte and EU's Callas pressed allies to ramp up defense funding ahead of June's summits.
UN to vote ceasefire over Gaza.
The United Nations will vote today on a resolution demanding an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The motion faces opposition from both the U.S. and Israel. U.S. cameras on the Middle East. The State Department has ordered non-lethal departures from Bahrain and Kuwait and repositioned forces over heightened regional tensions. This move contributed to the surge in oil prices and drop in the dollar. Here's what we know about the Air India Flight 171 crash. A Boeing 787 Dreamliner took off from Ahmedabad, headed for London, and just 30 seconds later, it went down. There were 242 people on board, 230 passengers, and 12 crew. Right now, over 200 people are confirmed dead. It's being called one of the worst plane crashes in India's history. The jet slammed into a dorm building near BJ Medical College, causing fires, massive damage, and more casualties on the ground. One person survived. His name is Vishwesh Kumar Ramesh, a British-Indian dual citizen who was sitting in seat 11A. Somehow, he made it out alive. He's now in the hospital in stable condition. World leaders responded quickly. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and UK's Keir Starmer both shared their condolences. Boeing is now under fire. The company is working with investigators from the US and UK. Meanwhile, their stock has already dropped nearly 8% in pre-market trading. Troops deployed to Los Angeles. In response to mass ICE raids and protests, President Trump federalized troops under Title X, deploying 4,000 National Guard troops and 700 Marines to LA. Curfews and a state of emergency were declared. Cities nationwide are on alert. Rare earth elements and a tax blow. China continues to tighten restrictions on rare earth metal exports. Auto giant Stellantis says its stockpile will last through the end of June. Meanwhile, the U.S. is pushing forward a new 20% tax under Section 899, which could hit European energy companies hard. Kenya's protests spark. Kenyan police fired tear gas in Nairobi to break up demonstrations over a blogger's death in custody. Next round, U.S.-Iran nuclear talks. Oman confirmed an upcoming meeting between U.S. and Iranian officials in an effort to ease regional tensions. And that's your world, fast, clear, and decoded. Thanks for sticking with us. This was Decoded Daily. Take care. We'll see you soon.